Imagine you're sitting quietly in your favorite chair, maybe with a cup of tea in hand, flipping through the newspaper, or just watching the world go by. Everything feels calm, until suddenly, your heart starts pounding like it's late for work. Strange, right? Or maybe you've stood up a little too quickly and the room tilted just a bit longer than it should have. You brush it off, "Oh, I'm just tired. Maybe it's my age." But what if these little moments are actually whispers from your heart? Not shouts, not dramatic movie scenes where someone clutches their chest and collapses, but soft, subtle whispers saying, "Hey, I need some help down here." That's what I want to talk to you about today. Because heart failure doesn't always start with a bang. More often, it creeps in quietly, disguised as everyday inconveniences. And if you and I can learn to notice those early signs, we can catch problems long before they grow into emergencies. So let's take this step by step. Like friends having a calm but important chat. Ready? Let's dive into the first sign. Now, picture your heart as a loyal employee in the factory of your body. Day and night without taking a break, it's pushing blood, delivering oxygen, carrying nutrients. Normally, this worker keeps a steady pace between 60 and 100 beats per minute when you're resting. Calm, efficient, no fuss. But what happens when that worker is tired? The machines are old, and production has to keep going. They rush. They take fewer breaks. They start working overtime. That's what happens when your resting heart rate is too high. Even when you're sitting, doing nothing at all, your heart may suddenly start thumping faster, as if it's trying to make up for lost strength. Have you ever noticed that sitting on the couch, watching TV, and suddenly feeling a flutter, a pounding, or even a racing pulse for no clear reason? That's not your imagination, and it's not always just nerves. The American Heart Association has shown that a consistently high resting heart rate is linked to earlier onset of heart failure. Think of it like driving your car at full speed, even on a quiet neighborhood street. The engine wears out much faster. Here's the tricky part. A racing heart isn't always painful. Sometimes it feels like a tap on the shoulder rather than a punch in the chest. That's why it's so easy to ignore. But over time, this extra effort slowly wears your heart down. So what can you do? One simple, almost effortless step is to keep a little heart diary. Many smartphones now have built-in pulse checkers, or you can use a basic wrist monitor. Note your heart rate when you're calm and relaxed. If it regularly climbs over 100 beats per minute while you're at rest, that's your signal. It doesn't mean panic, it means partnership. Time to have a chat with your doctor and let them join forces with you in protecting that loyal worker inside your chest. Now let's move upstairs, to the control center, your brain. We often blame little lapses of memory on aging. You walk into a room and suddenly think, "What was I here for?" Or you read the same sentence 3 times and still can't focus. Funny in the moment, maybe a little frustrating too. But sometimes, it's not age, it's circulation. Your brain is a demanding tenant. It needs a steady, rich flow of oxygen and nutrients to keep everything sharp. But if the heart is pumping weakly, guess who gets less fuel? That's right, the brain. Imagine trying to run your computer with half the electricity. The screen flickers, the programs lag, and eventually things just shut down. Studies published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology have shown that even in early heart failure, people often experience cognitive decline. That doesn't mean dementia or something dramatic. It can start small, with forgetfulness, losing track of conversations, or feeling mentally foggy. Here's the catch. These little moments are easy to excuse. "Oh, I just had a long day. I didn't sleep well." And yes, those things matter. But if you notice that these lapses happen regularly, especially after physical effort, like climbing stairs, gardening, or even after a long day, that's your clue. I always tell patients, don't be afraid to play detective. Write down when the fog rolls in. Was it after exercise? In the evening? After skipping a meal? Patterns give doctors the map we need to connect the dots. And remember, protecting your brain is just another way of protecting your independence, your personality, your very sense of self. Your heart and brain are teammates. If one struggles, the other quickly feels it. Now, let's take a trip down to your legs. Have you ever pulled off your socks at the end of the day and noticed deep marks left on your skin, or felt your shoes growing tighter even though they fit fine in the morning? That's not just tired feet, that's your body's plumbing system sending a distress signal. Here's the image. When the heart can't pump strongly, blood starts backing up, like cars stuck in traffic with nowhere to go. That backup increases pressure in your veins, and fluid begins to leak into nearby tissues. That's why your ankles, feet, and sometimes even your lower legs swell as the day goes on. Doctors call it peripheral edema. I like to explain it this way. Imagine a sponge left in a bowl of water all day. By evening, it's heavy, soggy, and swollen. That's what your tissues feel like when excess fluid sneaks in. The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute confirms this is one of the most common early red flags of heart failure, and you can even test it at home. Press your thumb gently on your shin for a few seconds. If a dent remains when you lift it, that's your body's way of saying, "Hey, I'm holding on to too much fluid." Now don't panic if this happens once in a while after a salty meal or a long flight, but if swelling is new, persistent, or getting worse, especially when paired with sudden weight gain or shortness of breath, it's a story worth telling your doctor, because those legs of yours, they're often the first chapter in the book of what's going on inside your chest. Let's go back to those dizzy spells. Have you ever stood up quickly and felt like the room was tilting, or even had a moment where you nearly lost your balance for no reason? Many people shrug it off, "I just got up too fast." But when it keeps happening, your body is trying to tell you something important. Think of your brain as a lamp. It needs steady electricity to keep shining bright. If the current suddenly drops, even for a few seconds, the light flickers or goes dark. That's exactly what happens when your heart isn't pumping enough blood to the brain. The European Heart Journal has linked reduced blood supply to frequent dizziness and near fainting. And here's why it matters. Dizziness isn't just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. For older adults especially, fainting or losing balance can mean serious falls, broken bones, or head injuries. So these little dizzy spells aren't little at all. They're a safety hazard and a heart signal rolled into one. What should you do? First, notice the pattern. Does it happen when you stand up quickly, after climbing stairs, during light chores? Write it down. Next time it happens, don't try to power through. Sit down, breathe slowly, let your body recover. And most importantly, share these details with your doctor. Think of it as giving them the missing puzzle piece they need to understand your circulation. Because here's the truth, ignoring dizziness is like ignoring flickering lights in your house. Sooner or later, the power could go out when you least expect it. Better to fix the wiring now. Finally, let's talk about something that disrupts one of the most precious things you have: your sleep. Do you find yourself waking up 2, 3, maybe even 4 times a night just to go to the bathroom? You might think, well, that's just part of aging. But sometimes, it's your heart waving a red flag. Here's why: during the day, fluid often pools in your legs. But when you lie down at night, gravity shifts it back into your bloodstream. Your kidneys, always the diligent workers, filter that extra fluid, and suddenly, you're up and down to the bathroom all night long. Doctors call this nocturia. The Cleveland Clinic highlights that frequent nighttime urination is often one of the very first signs of fluid overload from heart failure, and it's more than an inconvenience. Broken sleep doesn't just leave you groggy the next day. Poor rest weakens your immune system, drains your energy, and actually places even more stress on your already struggling heart. So what can you do? First, keep a simple log. How many times do you wake up? Do your legs swell by evening? Does elevating your feet during the day reduce it? These little details give huge clues. Sometimes, small lifestyle tweaks, like propping your legs up in the afternoon or limiting fluids right before bed, can help. But if it's persistent, don't shrug it off. Because your nights should be restful, not restless. I sometimes tell patients your bladder may not be the culprit at all. It might be your heart quietly asking for help while you're trying to dream. Have you ever been sitting in a warm room, maybe even bundled in a blanket, and yet your hands or feet still feel like ice? You rub them, you put on socks, you hold a warm mug, but they stay stubbornly cold. Many people chalk it up to poor circulation or just age, but here's the real story. Your heart might be rationing its resources. When your heart gets weaker, it has to make choices. Just like a city shutting down streetlights to keep the hospital running during a blackout, the body always prioritizes the brain and vital organs. That means less warm, oxygen-rich blood makes it to your fingers and toes. The result? Cold hands and feet that don't match the temperature of the room. Sometimes people even notice their pulse feels faint at the wrist or ankle, as if the current is running low. Research in the American Journal of Cardiology shows reduced blood flow to the extremities is common in early heart dysfunction. Think of it as your body saying, "I'm protecting the castle, but the gates might freeze." So the next time you notice your hands are chilly when everyone else feels fine, don't just grab a sweater. Ask yourself, is this a pattern? Does it happen often, even indoors? Keeping track and sharing this with your doctor could reveal more than you think, because while cold hands may seem like a small nuisance, they might be your body's quiet way of waving a white flag. Now let's talk about something many people dismiss as just getting old: running out of breath too easily. Do you ever feel winded climbing a few stairs, or even just walking across the yard to grab the mail? You stop, catch your breath, and think, I guess I'm not as young as I used to be. But here's the thing. It's not just about age. When the heart can't pump effectively, blood backs up into the lungs. Imagine traffic piling up on a highway. Cars stuck, engines overheating, and nothing moving. In your body, that backup means fluid seeps into the lungs, making it harder for oxygen to pass through. Suddenly, even small tasks feel like running a marathon. The Journal of the American Medical Association reports that breathlessness during mild exertion often appears years before full-blown heart failure is diagnosed. That's how early this clue can show up. But here's the danger: most people ignore it, convincing themselves they're simply out of shape. So here's my question for you. Do you notice you're out of breath while carrying groceries, gardening, or even talking while walking? If yes, your heart might be whispering for attention. And listen, pacing yourself isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Take breaks, move slower, and most importantly, don't ignore it. Because what feels like a minor annoyance today could be your heart's early alarm bell. Now let's step on the scale. Have you ever noticed your weight shooting up by 2 or 3 pounds almost overnight? Even though you didn't change what you ate, it can feel baffling, even discouraging. But often it's not fat, it's fluid. When the heart pumps poorly, the kidneys hold on to salt and water. It's your body's misguided way of trying to fix the problem, but that extra fluid has nowhere to go. It builds up in your belly, ankles, and even around the lungs. That's why your scale may suddenly jump up, leaving you scratching your head. The American Heart Association warns that gaining more than 2 to 3 pounds in a single day, or 5 pounds in a week, is a strong red flag for heart failure. It's like your body suddenly inflating a hidden water balloon inside you. Here's the good news. This is one of the easiest warning signs to track. Simply weigh yourself every morning at the same time before breakfast. Write it down. If you see a sudden jump, that's not just holiday weight, it could be your body waving a big red flag. And remember, catching it early can prevent hospitalization later. A little notebook by your bathroom scale could turn into one of the most powerful tools you own. Let's shift gears to something that might surprise you: your stomach. Have you ever felt bloated after only a few bites, or lost your appetite for no clear reason? Maybe your waistband feels tight at night, even though you didn't eat much. Many people think it's indigestion, or maybe just age slowing digestion, but often it's your heart speaking through your belly. When the heart weakens, fluid doesn't just back up in the legs or lungs, it can collect in the abdomen too. Doctors call this ascites. It puts pressure on your stomach and liver, making you feel full even when you haven't eaten much. Imagine trying to eat dinner while someone slowly fills a balloon inside your belly. No wonder you don't feel hungry. The National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute notes that abdominal swelling and loss of appetite are common in early heart failure. And it's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. If you're not eating enough, your body doesn't get the nutrition it needs. That weakens your muscles, your immune system, and yes, even your heart. So here's my advice. Pay attention to your meals. Are you losing interest in foods you used to enjoy? Do you feel stuffed too quickly? A food and symptom diary can give your doctor critical insights. Remember, your stomach isn't betraying you, it's just passing along the message from your heart. Finally, let's talk about something millions of people struggle with: fatigue. But this isn't the normal tiredness you feel after a long day. This is bone-deep exhaustion that lingers no matter how much you rest. Many people with early heart failure describe it as a constant lack of energy, like running on an empty battery that never fully charges. Simple tasks, folding laundry, walking to the mailbox, even taking a shower, can feel overwhelming. You wake up tired, you go to bed tired, and somewhere in between you wonder if this is just old age. But here's the truth. It's not just age. It's your body signaling that the heart isn't delivering enough oxygen-rich blood to fuel your muscles and organs. Studies in circulation confirm that chronic fatigue and reduced exercise tolerance are some of the earliest and most disabling symptoms of heart failure. Think of your body as a house. Normally all the rooms are well lit, but when the power supply weakens, only the essential lights stay on. The rest flicker or fade. That's what fatigue feels like: a dimmed version of your normal self. And here's the silver lining. Noticing this change early gives you the chance to act. By sharing these patterns with your doctor, you can uncover the hidden reason for your exhaustion and take steps to restore your energy, because you deserve to feel alive, not just awake. So, let's pull it all together. Over these 2 conversations, we've looked at 10 early signs of heart trouble. Some are obvious, like swelling or shortness of breath. Others are sneaky, like memory fog, nighttime bathroom trips, or cold fingers. Alone, they may seem harmless. Together, they form a pattern, a quiet language your heart uses to ask for help. The good news, by catching these whispers early, you can change the story. With proper care, lifestyle adjustments, and the right support, many people live full, independent lives even after a diagnosis. The key is listening, really listening to what your body is trying to say. So here's my gentle challenge to you. Don't dismiss the little things, keep a small journal, notice patterns, and bring them up at your next checkup. Share this knowledge with a friend or loved one, because awareness can save lives. And if you found this conversation helpful, consider subscribing so we can keep walking this path together. Remember, your heart has carried you through every laugh, every hug, every challenge of your life. It deserves your care in return. Let's give it the attention it needs before the whispers ever turn into shouts.